Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, for granting me some time to meet you. I've been in Nigeria since August 2023, so I'm still relatively new here, and therefore also this visit is mostly in the spirit of getting to know each other. The government here is almost as new as my arrival, so it makes lots of sense. I'm not coming with any specific demands or requests from you, but just also to outline a little bit what our presence as a Belgian embassy will look like in the coming years, because there are some changes ahead that I would like to highlight here. And other than that, I think we can have a free-flowing discussion on subjects of mutual interest. I will also hand you my business cards with my details. So let me maybe first start with saying that currently Belgium is in the process of constructing a new chancery building within the compound of the EU. So it makes a lot of sense to have more EU member states together in one compound. That was also, I think, thought up and planned in that regard. So after Netherlands, Italy, now also Ireland, we are the next one in line to follow suit there. These works should normally be finished by April 2025, so that will seal our removal from Maitama to that part of town. Our residence, however, will remain in Maitama where it is. We're the owner of a building that we are very happy with. So other than that, we're also very happy with the way things are being run here in Abuja. Myself, I've come to appreciate a city with very many trees, not so much traffic. When we go to Lagos, there usually we like to get involved in debates about alternative transport modes, waterways, and what have you, transport through air and all of that. This is luckily not the kind of debate we have to have here. Perhaps I'd be interested in a few of your views maybe on what kind of plans there are ahead in terms of mass transportation, in terms of rail and public and how do you call that? Yes, public transport indeed. What in the coming years we might see developing in Abuja. Perhaps also to hear a little bit on the issues with the movement of cattle through the city. We remember that when you were in River State, that you were one of the governors who also wanted to regulate this, and then also how this will now be relevant also for the FCT. These are a few things that come to mind. We also remember that your wife recently has made a very noticeable intervention on an event organized by UN Women and the Ministry of Women's Affairs against child marriage. So this is definitely also something we picked up as an embassy and applaud very much, and we were also part of that event, and we also part of the support to those initiatives. So these are a few first things that I wanted to share before hearing from you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. Let me, on behalf of the FCT, welcome you to the headquarters of the city. It's been a pleasure. Belgium has been a standing relationship with Nigeria for so many years. I have been to Brussels when I was Minister of State Education.
Okay.
Like you said, you came in August, I came in August too, so we're relatively new in various positions, but that notwithstanding. Let me thank you for the areas of concern which you would want us for us to brief you what we are doing in terms of transportation and also talk about issue of security that have to do with
Yes.
the cows, you know. When we came on board, we found out that the metro line was not functioning. And we felt that it would be a good thing for the people in order to decongest the city where we can put it to function. And so Mr. President directed that whatever can be done should be done so that in his 1 year in office, we believe that he should come on board and people would use it. Those who are going out to the city, going to the airport, going to other area councils, instead of them coming with vehicles, they can take the train and come in. I can hopefully announce to you that we're almost there. The company CCECC that is building the metro line, we're almost 95%. By the grace of God, we believe by May the president will officially inaugurate it. So, and again, we're also having some private discussion with private partners in terms of changing the mode of our public transportation. And that again is part of the insecurity we have. Most of the people who run public transport here are not registered. And so you find out that citizens don't even know the vehicles they are boarding, whether the identity. And so you may have heard of this one chance before, a kind of a syndicate, you know, but we have been able to enter into partnership with some private persons who now will now officially, you know, and with all identification, and the vehicles will be identified and the operators will also be identified, and where they are given routes to fly. And we're also trying to build terminals in order to know which area is supposed to be associated to. Take for example, we don't have public taxis on the road. You must go to a particular terminal where passengers will be and where the drivers are identified. So these are efforts we are putting in place to see that not only is it decent, but also in terms of fighting insecurity. And we believe, by the grace of God, when we have the approval from the Bureau of Public Procurement, we believe in the next 1 month, consortium ought to have started. You mentioned a very important and very, very critical that to do with the movement of cows. That also affects security. Discussions are top gear. Both the IG, the DG of SSF, and the cattle rearers. If you don't handle it very well, and during the situation we are now in this country, we are being very careful. But we're discussing with them to note why we should not allow that within the city. And we have not been able to conclude. And so that I can say, the discussions are still ongoing. And knowing the sensitivity, so we don't want to rush. But I can tell you, it is not what we want. But believing that the matters will be resolved, and what would be the alternative, where to provide for them, so that the cows can be reared there. So that is as regards to that area. But generally too, we are doing well in terms of security. You will agree with me that security has tremendously improved. The security agencies have worked so hard with the support of government in providing them the necessary logistics. I think they have stepped up very well. Most of these high-level kidnappers have now been arrested and been prosecuted according to law. So we will be happy if we can, area of security, partner with you. That will be very, very important for us. Again, agriculture is key. Agriculture, because the largest employer of labor is with agriculture. We have arable land that if we can get partners from Belgium to develop agriculture, we'll be very happy about that.
Okay.
I believe with what I saw when I went to Brussels, it would be good if we can have people who will come and invest, and we are giving them opportunities. We don't mind to give them tax holidays and just for purposes of investment, and then I assure them that the environment will be free for them. So that is what we think. And through your office, if we can cooperate and get investors who would invest in agric in Abuja.
Yes, that's a very interesting discussion on investment, because that's indeed something that I still left untouched and that I still can also say something about. Historically, we have had some Belgians who have been present in the agricultural sector, mostly in other places in Nigeria. For instance, there's the Presco Siad group with a palm oil plantation in Edo State. Now, interestingly, that is actually, from the Belgian point of view, an ending story, and it's maybe a happy end, because there's now a Nigerian group that, with a transaction last Wednesday, has taken over that plantation.
Okay.
Because there was a financial health issue with the group overall in Belgium worldwide, but definitely not with the plantations here.
Yeah.
So now this is the Sarumi group who took over this plantation. And we're always a bit surprised that this seemed to get more airplay in Belgian news media than in the Nigerian news media, whereas I would think, especially since the Sarumi group, through this transaction, will also become the owner of a company producing plants in Belgium itself, in Ghent, the Rose plant. So it's, I think, also a beautiful story about globalization, how, the tables are also turning, and African countries can also now gain control over companies in Europe, and that's only fair in an economic story. But to come back to agriculture in the overall portfolio of investments from Belgium and Nigeria, it has not been the biggest bulk. The biggest presences here have to do with construction materials, with, for instance, even glue products. We have set up quite some factories here that sometimes also produce for neighboring countries, but agriculture has not been the mainstay of it. This being said, we've had recently a small trade mission in Lagos with some companies, for instance, specialized in building silos. So all of that exists. This being said, we've also had recent visits by a Belgian entrepreneur who makes it very clear that he would like to set up some production facilities in the FCT, rather than in Lagos, where most of our investors are based in Lagos and surrounding states. But this entrepreneur wants to make a difference in the health sector. That is about dialysis, but it's also about special bandages to treat complex wounds.
Okay.
And he says, I don't need the Lagos ecosystem for that. I can operate from Abuja would be even better, because of its central location, then distribution throughout the country is much easier. So we do have those entrepreneurs who are focused on Abuja FCT, but not necessarily, or at least I haven't met so many of them yet in the agricultural field, but we will keep, of course, looking out for that. Of course, also you're always welcome in Brussels. I'm happy to extend that invitation. The Minister of State for FCT was recently also in Brussels.
Yeah, for the health program.
Exactly, and that was probably more in a EU context, but she also met with our Minister for Development Cooperation, who is indeed also very implicated in health issues, because the Minister of Health was also present there.
Yes.
This was a very fruitful meeting that we will definitely also build upon. So that is definitely also something
Thank you very much.
worth mentioning.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It will be our pleasure.
Real pleasure as well.